Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Greninja in the Open Great League. This Pokemon is my favorite Pokemon of them all, and so I'm always kind of excited to play this Pokemon. And I have to say, in the current meta, I would really recommend you to try it out. I would recommend you to try it out in the lead because a lot of people are currently running a double fighting backline. And this is exactly why we're going to have our Shadow Gligar as our main save swap. And in the back we're going to have our Cresselia lurking around. And honestly, this team was amazing. Like, if you have those Pokemon around, I would really recommend you to build it. Especially like Cresselia was recently in a quest. Gligar is also available as a non-shadow variant, which also would work out. And like Greninja Community Day, I think like nearly everybody has this Pokemon. But this team here was absolutely insane for me. You see every battle that I did with this team, so you're also gonna see like some of the weaknesses. But also, I went 5-0 with this team in one set, which was just really nice. Just a strong team. Like, it is like so good. Here we're going to see the matchup against Poliwrath. Poliwrath is the hardest answer to our Greninja, but they're still using a shield, which is going to be great, because we can go into our Cresselia. Cresselia can easily take the moves from the opponent, and we're going to have basically two answers in the back that can deal with fighting type Pokemons, which are of course like the biggest weakness of Greninja. Next to also the fairy type Pokemon. Fairy type Pokemon can be also a little bit tricky. When I tried to build this team, there were some Pokemon that I got recommended as a save swap, which would have been also weak to Charm, which I didn't really want to have, because I feel like Charm is very good in the current meta. I might make a video about this one then as well eventually. But here we will be able to snipe the opponent's Gligar, go for an aerial ace, and with this the opponent is gonna go down here. Another aerial ace is coming through, finishing up this job, and we can move on into the next game. Next opponent, another Gligar lead. Gligar lead is fairly common right now, and they swap out into a Guzzlord, and this was like a little bit of a risky play by me to go into my Cresselia here, but we have of course Moonblast for exactly this matchup, because otherwise we're going to be too weak against the Guzzlord. Guzzlord is a Pokemon I kinda also want to take a look at, because this Pokemon is actually, based on what PvPoke says, the best individual Pokemon in the current meta, which I might make a video about this one then as well, but like, it is such a strong Pokemon to have. So if you have a Guzzlord already built or whatever, I would also recommend you to try it out. But here we're going to be able to hit this Moonblast, which is really lucky for me that we're still able to hit this Moonblast, because like this we can now align our Greninja against the opponent's Gligar. I can even swap out of here because it can get some energy, which was maybe a little bit of a risky and not really smart play, because they're going to have the Charger Bug in the back, which we would have rather had against our own Gligar. But as Greninja is so insanely fast at charging up those charge moves, we can just go for the Night Slash here, going to be able to force a shield from the opponent. And with this, we can still reach another Night Slash, which is going to be able to knock them out. And so Greninja is just so fast at charging that you're going to be able to even beat some of the answers of this Pokemon, which is kind of wild. And here the opponent decides to forfeit, and we can move on to the next one. Here is the issue for basic Greninja, Charm users, and here I actually wanted to swap out immediately, but I feel like I don't really think this was a game problem. I think I just like clicked a little bit too high up there and didn't actually reach the Gligar in time, which is fine. We're still going to be able to hit them here with a aerial ace. In hindsight, I should have not done this. I should have overfarmed by a little bit more and tried to go for a dig instead, because this would have allowed me to force maybe a shield from the opponent, which would have been better. But it is what it is. But of course, if I didn't go for the fast move earlier on with Greninja, I would have been easily able to go up to the dig as well. With this, the opponent would have outsped me before I would reach the dig, so it's a little bit tricky there, of course, with the beginning of this game. Here, maybe I make a mistake, but also I feel like I kinda don't make a mistake here, because the opponent has so much energy on the Lickitung here. We're going to, of course, have to go into our Cresselia, which is going to be able to soak the energy up. But maybe I should have swapped out of here instead of going for the Moonblast, but they can even go for another Body Slam. And this would be like already like twice deadly or whatever against our Greninja. Greninja cannot really take a move. But like this, of course, our Cresselia is going to be very low. And here I try to swap into my Greninja in time to try to get some extra energy. But no, the opponent swapped out at the same time as I did, which is really unfortunate. If I stayed in, I would have been in a way better spot as well. But of course, like this, we will not know what they're going to have in the back most likely, unless they're going to be very kind and show it to us. We can still try to go for the farm down, which doesn't even work out. And so we can move on into the next game. Next opponent, we're going to have a Lickitung in the lead, and that's going to be way better, because we're going to resist the fast move of Lickitung. And in the two-shot scenario, I think Greninja usually wins, because he can just two-shot them with a Hydro Cannon, which is kind of great. But the opponent makes a very interesting play here of save-swapping the Medicham. Save-swapping Medicham in the current meta is something that is very risky, I feel like, but yeah, we're just going to take advantage of this because we're going to still have our own Cresselia. And maybe I make a little bit of a misplay here as well. I decided to go for the Peter here, which I didn't really want. I thought I would be able to get there before, but it's going to be okay. The opponent goes for the Ice Punch, but I can go for the full undercharge here with just a nice, which is going to allow us to get a little bit more energy there. At least that's what I thought, but the opponent swaps out, and so they're still going to have their Medicham with like 1 HP in the back, but we can now lock in our Greninja against the Lickitung. While, of course, Power Whip would knock us out and Body Slam still does a ton of damage, we are going to have a fairly decent time here with just our Hydro Cannons and the fast move pressure of Water Shuriken. We will see the Hydro Cannon gonna connect, and so we can farm them all the way down. We are 1 shield down, but we have a ton of energy on our Greninja. Plus, we know already that the opponent only has 1 Pokemon left, and this Pokemon is going to be a Victory Bell, which I'm fine with, because we're going to have our good friend Gallagher in the back, as well as we have some energy still on our Cresselia, which will allow us to knock them out after a little bit of damage from Gallagher here. So we're going to be in a very decent spot. If they caught a move from Gallagher, this would have been a little bit more tricky, but like this, I can just stay in for a little bit. The opponent goes ahead and goes for the Acid Spray, and I can actually swap out of here now. I still keep 1 charge move stored. The opponent swaps into the Medicham, and with this, we can just go for a Moonblast, knock down the Victory Bell, and win this game fairly easily. Next opponent, we're going to have a Whiscash in the lead. We have Greninja, which is a great matchup, and the opponent decides to forfeit. For whatever reason, I don't know, but we can just move on to the next one. What I have to say as well, the games are not in order. I went 3-2 in my first set, and I went 5-0 in my second set, and I feel like, yeah, 3-0, but like you already saw like the one game which was against Charm alone 90 hits, which is a little bit rarer to be seen in the current meta, but I feel like it's a good Pokemon to use in the current meta for sure. But yeah, it's not really the most common Pokemon. And we're gonna see what's going to be the final loss for this team. But here we're going to encounter a great lead force, which is going to be the Skarmory. You still have to always kind of use a shield with Greninja. Greninja in the 0 shield scenario is kind of useless, but in the 2 shield scenario, this Pokemon is deadly. So here we will see a very questionable swap by me. Should have stayed in with my Greninja against the Whiscash, but we're still going to be able to survive a 1 Scald from the opponent. And so we can still reach an Aerial Ace, even if we're going to be debuffed. They're most likely still going to use a shield here. Let's see if they're going to do this. We're going to see that they're going to let this move go through and swap out into the Trevenant. This is a very great force because now we still have Night Slash stored on our Greninja. We have a ton of energy and we need that energy because this is going to be our best matchup for this Pokemon. If our Cresselia gets aligned against the Trevenant, we're going to have a problem. But as you can see, the opponent lets one move go through, and so they're already down in the deep red health, and our fast move is still chunking away their health here as well. And so the Night Slash is coming through, going to be able to get the final shield most likely. Yes, we're going to be able to do exactly this, but now they're definitely going to be in range for Psycho Cut down from Cresselia, allowing us to get some extra energy maybe. Let's see, the opponent is staying in here, we can farm them down. In comes again the Whiscash, and we can just farm them all the way down as well. Like, they need to go for 3 Scalds basically to knock me out, so I'm not really too worried about this one here. And we can move on to the next opponent. Greninja against Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz was a Pokemon that I showcased early on as well. We actually have like basically a very similar setup to the team prior, but like the team prior that I played was from PvPoke and I wasn't really too happy about it. This team was amazing. We're going to have the Greninja as our dark type instead of the Mandibuzz. We're going to have in the back here our Gallagher as well as the Cresselia. Honestly, I wonder right now if the opponent has the same team as what I showcased earlier on. This would have been funny. I'm not too sure. Like, there was definitely one Gallade that I faced. I don't know if it was actually this player. This would have been really, really hilarious if this would be the team that I showcased early on, which was from PvPoke, not built for myself. But I think it is actually the exact same team, which is hilarious. And I said in the video as well that you should not build this team, but you can definitely build the team that I play here right now, which is a little bit of a better team to use. But maybe the opponent still had some success with this, or maybe they just also went to PvPoke and just stole a team from the list there. I'm not too sure, but as you're gonna see, they're gonna go for 1 charge move here. It's going to be the Moonblast. It's going to not do anything as we can reach our Grass Knot. Another Grass Knot going to knock them out afterwards as well, so we can basically knock them out before they can go for their own charge move, which is going to be great. So Grass Knot connecting. better move anyway. Let's see what they have in the back. They're going to go back into the Mandibus, and I think they're going to have a Glade in the back, which would be kind of funny. So let's see. Dark Bolt's coming through, going to knock us out. It was actually the opponent here. This is hilarious. Like, if you watch this video as well, shouts to you. Definitely cool to see the team here as well. But yeah, I said in the video earlier on that you most likely should not use this team that I played there as well, because it was just stolen, wasn't really great. But this team here is amazing to play, so definitely skill this one. Next opponent, we're going to have a great lead here. We're going to have the Bastion in the lead, a Pokemon that we're kind of fine with. Here, I should have most likely rather went into my Gligar. Like, I usually would like to go into the Gligar in this kind of matchup. Here, the opponent goes for the Night Slash. Fine by me. Not really ideal for me, of course, but yeah, Gligar is the better answer if they swap into their Annihilate. A lot of times they're going to have in the back a Poliwrath, where you kind of would like to have your Cresselia up against anyway, so yeah, this was definitely a mistake by me. Maybe something that's going to hurt me here as well. We will find out shortly, as the Grass Knot is coming through. Going to do only a little bit of damage. I wait until they go for their own charge move, which they're going to decide to go for now, and so I can swap out into my own Gligar. Gligar can get some extra energy, we can let one move go through here as well, which is not going to do too much damage, and we can overfarm by quite a bit, but we still have to be a little bit careful. Dig is going to do a ton of damage, but we kinda still need to get rid of their shields first, and so Aerial Ace Bait is coming through, going to be successful, and now I can go for the Dig, which would hopefully knock them out, but we have to see what they're going to do now. The opponent decides to go for a shield, and they decide to swap out, and it's going to be that Poliwrath as expected, which is going to be a very decent matchup for us now, because we can get some damage onto them, but we also still have our Cresselia, which can go for the combo play. We can go for one Grass Knot here, knock them out, we can go for one more fast move, another Grass Knot here, to get the opponent into range hopefully for one Hydro Cannon of my Greninja. So let's see, can we knock them out with one Hydro Cannon? We will find out very shortly. Is this going to be enough already? It's going to be very close. It is enough and we can win this game. Next opponent, horrible lead for us again, like literally worst possible lead. With the Annihilate, we swap out into our Gligar and they swap out into the Lickitung. Not too bad for us, but like again, very, very bad lead for us, so it's going to be very tricky to come back from this. Basically, this team is built around the most common meta teams right now, so you basically have a half-decent answer for Lantern as the Say-Swap here with our Gligar. We're still going to have a very good answer against Lantern in the back with the Cresselia. We're going to have two answers for Fighting type, because double fighting, which we saw in the video, like in the game before already, is very common. So like this team is actually a really great anti-meta team right now for what you are facing a lot of times. A lot of times Skarmory is in the lead, which is going to be great for the Greninja as well, so this team is really, really good in terms of how it kind of functions in the current meta. One issue maybe for this team as well, you're still going to be double weak to Charger Bug like the team earlier on that I showcased as well, because you still have like kind of a similar core of Cresselia plus what's called a Dark type Pokemon. But yeah, Charger Bug is a very solid Pokemon in the current meta. Do you want to see a Charger Bug team? In general, what team would you like to see next? Let me know in the comment section. Would really appreciate if there would be some kind of suggestions as well. Which Pokemon should I build a team around next? Would be very interesting to see what you kind of want to see. But here we're going to see the Moonblast coming through. We're going to get the shield from the opponent, and we're going to have a CMP tie here, which I'm going to let go. I just have to hope that one Hydro Cannon is enough to knock out an Annihilate. They swap out immediately, and as you're going to see here, Hydro Cannon is coming through, and we are going to sadly not knock them out. But honestly, this is going to be our second loss, which is totally okay for me, because it was a complete hard wall again, and so I'm fine losing those games. It is what it is, but if I win everything else, I'm totally happy about it. So we're going to have a great lead here of the Sandslash, but the opponent makes a great play here as well. In comes a Lantern, and so I'm going to decide to stay in for a little bit, get the energy back, and swap out now, because Cresselia insanely bulky. This Pokemon can literally take any kind of hit, and I kinda rather have the energy on my Greninja, because I know that Shadow Claw from the Sandslash is not gonna do a ton of damage, and I'd rather keep the energy for later on. And here we're gonna see something very, very cool. The opponent's Lantern is in the perfect range for us farming them down, literally perfect. And what this also allows us to do is we can go for a charge move against the Sandslash, get them low enough for one Hydro Cannon to KO, as well as we only give them one extra fast move at advantage, which is going to be amazing. We even get the attack drop, which doesn't matter because I swap out immediately, but they're going to have a Feraligatr in the back, and they make a crucial mistake. they didn't go straight for their charge move. And this will allow us now at this point to just go for an aerial ace and force a shield. And so for me, the best play is to let this move go through. The opponent would have outsped me to the next move. And so I'd rather keep the energy on my Greninja. Now we have two Pokemon that have Shadow Claw, which is going to be resisted. Here they don't get the debuff, which is very cool for us as well. But also we generate so much energy and Greninja is just gonna go to town now. We can go for another charge move here. The opponent is not going to enjoy this Night Slash. They decide to use a shield here, and as we don't get to the next move in time, I'm waiting out now because I expect that the opponent would swap out immediately. They do exactly this, and so I can go for the Hydro Cannon, knock out the opponents alone in Sand Slash. Gonna also take a KO here now against the Feraligatr, and Greninja again showcases why this Pokemon is so strong. And as you can see here, 5-0 with this team. Amazing team to play, would really recommend it to you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.